guys, my name's Gillian and I'm one of the marketing interns working here at Mars Canada for the summer. And we're really excited to welcome you guys here today and show you a little bit about what we do. While we may not ride our polar bears from our igloos to our office, we still do a lot of really fun and exciting things that we're excited to show you. So, come on in! Here in Canada, we have 5 offices and 3 production plants with interns across all 3. Today you're going to be hearing from interns here in Bolton and then also interns at the Mars Wrigley Confectionery office in Markham. So without further ado, let's head inside and see what our other interns are up to today.
Oh, Alisa, you work in sales, right?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, are you able to tell us a bit about the Canadian retail landscape?
Yeah, for sure. Let's go.
Here, take a seat.
So the Canadian retail landscape is pretty much dominated by 5 major players.
The pie chart here shows the percentage of Mars sales that are incurred at each of the retailers across Canada. So similar to the US, the majority of Mars sales come from Walmart stores. A close second is the Canadian food retailer called Loblaws Company Limited. It encompasses several supermarket banners. You can see a few of them listed below the Loblaws logo. They also recently acquired a dominant drugstore in Canada, also known as Shoppers Drug Mart.
Want to hear a fun fact about Loblaws?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so 85% of the Canadian population actually lives within a 10-minute drive of a Loblaws banner.
Oh wow, no way.
Yeah.
So the rest of the Canadian market is pretty much divided up by 3 other players. So this includes Empire Company Limited, who owns Safeway, Sobeys, and Freshco, Metro, and Costco.
So now that you know a little bit about where Canadians shop, let's learn about how they shop.
There are a few key trends to note about the average Canadian shopper. These range from healthy eating, convenience, and ethnic food choices.
All this talk about food is making me super hungry. Can we head to the caf?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
So the first trend of healthy eating is driven significantly by the fact that Canada has an aging population. Currently, about 40% of the Canadian population is 45 years or older. Studies have found that as Canadians age, they tend to choose healthier foods. So being that we have an aging population, there is a significant trend towards more nutritious food options. So the second food trend is the fact that people are looking for super convenient, quick, easy to make food that still has a lot of nutritional value. There's a couple reasons for this. One, of course, being that people are leading much busier lives, but also the fact that there's a growing number of families where both parents are working or they're single-parent households. So because they have less time on their hands, they want to have food that they can quickly prepare for their families. So the final trend in the Canadian retail space is the fact that more and more grocery stores are offering ethnic foods from around the world. A lot of this is driven by the fact that Canada has a very culturally diverse population, so they're looking for these more ethnic foods that they can incorporate into their homemade meals even when they're here in Canada.
So now that you have a sense of what the Canadian retail landscape is like, why don't we go check out a grocery store?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Hey guys, we just got to the first store. I'm going to be taking you through a Loblaws location today. This is just so you guys can all get a sense of what a typical store looks like in Canada. So let's get started. We're going to start today's tour by going through the pet care section at Loblaws. As you can see here, there's a nice block of purple for the Whiskas brand. And again, having a chunk of the same color is another strategy that people who work with planograms and making those kind of decisions will often try and incorporate into stores, just because again, it does draw the consumer's eye to it and make them more likely to purchase the product. So I just wanted to quickly draw your attention to this block of white bags right here. This is called President's Choice, and it's basically a private label brand that Loblaws manufactures, and they have food for humans as well as pets and a bunch of other products as well. And their products will always be featured at the very end and the beginning of the aisle. So the candy aisle is a personal favorite of mine, so I'm super excited to show you all of the Mars Wrigley Confectionery products on display. At the beginning, we start with a nice kind of panel of all the gum. It looks very good in these little slots. The nice middle section along here of these bags of Mars products. These are so good. I'm obsessed with caramel M&Ms, but I can never find them, so I'm gonna grab a bag of these. Alright guys, so we made it to the aisle where all the rice is kept, so I'll give you a quick overview of all the Uncle Ben's rice. So if we look at where the rice is located on the shelf, again, like the Mars chocolate, it's all in the center, which is, again, excellent. It's going to drive consumers to make purchases. Pretty much concludes the vlog/tour of a Canadian retail location. We thought that giving you a tour of Loblaws would be cool since you don't have those stores in the United States. Got my caramel M&Ms and I'm probably going to finish them tonight. But anyway, now that you've kind of seen an overview of the Canadian retail landscape, I think we're going to go more in depth with the pet food, Mars Wrigley confectionery, as well as the food business here in Canada. So enjoy the rest of the video. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, I'm Christie, and I'm a marketing intern on the pet care segment here at Mars Canada. This summer I've been working a lot on cat main meal and wet brands, and I've learned a lot. Today I'm going to tell you about the pet care segment in Canada and how it kind of is different than the States. So firstly, the pet care segment in Canada is a $3.5 billion business, with pet food specifically contributing to $2.1 billion. Dog food is $700 million of that, and then cat food contributes to $530 million. So although we may not be as large as our counterparts in the States, there's still lots of work to do in Canada. We've got some really exciting initiatives going on with our favorite brands. Can I tempt you with a fun fact? Did you know that in Canada, 6 out of 10 households have a cat or dog? Pretty cool. 2.5% of our sales are from e-commerce. Compared to the US, they're making 6.2% of their sales from e-commerce. So we've got some work to do, but we're in the process of developing our e-commerce market in the pet care segment, and we're pretty excited about it. You've heard me give you a good overview of the Canadian pet care segment, but I want to do a bit of a deep dive into one of Canada's biggest pet food brands, and that's Whiskas. Whiskas is a basic and balanced cat food recipe that plays in the mainstream price partition within our Canadian retailers. So that means that Whiskas is an affordable and also nutritious option for your cats. Whiskas prides itself on feeding your cats curiosity. In Bolton specifically, Whiskas is made in our plant, which is actually attached to our corporate headquarters right here on site. So that's a huge advantage for this brand and for our ability to play in the Canadian market space, because it gives us the autonomy to do special offers and collaborate with some of our other brands to really increase value for our customers. So a good example of this is sometimes we put little bags of Temptations into our Whiskas dry food bags to incent trial of Temptations and also have a mutually beneficial reaction on our Whiskas brands. Additionally, we've also looked into special recipe renovations for some of our most important and largest customers in the retail space. So we love having the factory right on site and our ability to drive our Whiskas business right here in Bolton. Products that are made right here on site in Bolton include Pedigree, Dentistix, Marrowbone, Jumbone, Whiskas, as well as our Temptations treats. Let's go check them out. All right, we're about to head into the plant where Whiskas, Temptations, Pedigree, and some of our other great brands are made. Let's check it out. Before we go into the plant, we need to wash our hands. Oh my God. Ah!
And now we're going to pass it off to our friends at MWC.
Hey guys, welcome to Toronto, Ontario, home of MWC Canada. I'm Mitchell.
And I'm Irene. Today we're going to talk to you about MWC Canada. Let's go meet some of the team.
My name is Martin Spencer and I'm the Strategic Demand Director here at Mars Wrigley Canada. What does Strategic Demand do? We are the house or the team that helps get all of the materials ready for the sales team to deliver great execution. So like all great Mars business units, we're part of a family-run, principle-based company, which makes us great. But what makes Mars Wrigley Canada particularly unique is that we're big enough in a complex enough country with a complex market structure to need to be really, really good at what we do. But we're also small enough to get our arms around the entire business. We know everybody in the company. And we get things done by working together. I think the thing that makes me the most excited about 2019 and beyond is our growth ambition. There are a ton of center of store, traditional CPG companies right now that are in a low growth environment, and the only way that they're thinking about accelerating profitability is by cutting costs. We're thinking about it a completely different way. We're thinking about aggressively growing not only our market share and confectionery in total, but expanding outside of confectionery, and that makes me really excited to be part of a company that is really thinking about growth.
So I really like what Martin had to say about how we're striving for sustainable growth. Here in Canada, despite being a much smaller market,
we have some powerhouse brands that really take the mark. Let's go see if Melissa's around to tell you guys about how MWC is excelling in gum.
Welcome to the Excel Critters Room. My name is Melissa Borovich and I'm the brand leader on Excel Gum and Mints. So Excel is a Canadian-only gum brand that we have here at MWC Canada. It was launched in 1991 and it's slightly different from the global gum brands like Orbit and Extra. And it's really important for MWC Canada because it's highly profitable and it's the #1 not only gum brand in Canada, but the #1 confectionery brand in all of Canada. So the interesting thing about working on gum is that gum is actually in decline and has been in decline for the past several years. But what's really exciting about 2019 and beyond is that our goal is to grow the gum category. So it's not just to grow Excel, because Excel has been growing year after year. It's really to grow all of our gum brands and the entire gum category. So the work that we're doing on that is really exciting.
It's great to hear from Melissa about one of the great brands that we have here at MWC Canada. I really liked how she talked about how here at MWC we're trying to grow the overall gum category. We rely heavily on global insights and practices from around the globe to provide us with insights as to how we want to grow gum and other categories. And actually, I think our CMI lead, Amar, is available right now. Let's go talk to him.
Currently, I'm strategy and CMI lead for Canada. CMI stands for Consumer Market Insights. Part of that is understanding where the shopper is and how that shopping behavior is changing, and more importantly, how that influences the category in which we play, which is confectionery, of course. What makes MWC Canada unique, I think, is our culture, which makes us incredibly unique. We have an entrepreneurial culture, which personally for me leads me to always evolve and learn more and actively get involved and challenge the status quo. That's what makes MWC Mars Wrigley a wonderful place to work and grow your career.
So another really great thing about MWC is that it recruits top talent from around the world. Some of the best and brightest come to Canada. And with Mars' incredible global network, there are so many international opportunities out there. Speaking of top talent, I think I see Alistair. Let's get him in here.
So my name is Alistair Nella. I'm the Strategic Revenue Management Head for MWC Canada. So I had a great opportunity to first work for Mars Confectionery in the UK, and then came over to Canada around 3 or 4 years ago. For me, what I'd say is there's a huge difference between working in a massive market and a massive market like the UK versus Canada. What I'd say you get it here in Canada is massive breadth of experience and responsibility in terms of what you day-to-day get exposed to and the types of things that you're going to get involved in regardless what function you sit in. So I think for me that's the biggest one. Okay, so biggest shock when I came to Canada, I would say that from a confectionery point of view, you guys don't have many Maltesers. So like my favorite chocolate in the UK was Maltesers. What is great to see is that we're actually doing a big drive on getting that out there in future years. And also, like, we don't have Dove or Galaxy tablet as well, so I would eat a ton of that in the UK. And then I'd say the biggest, from a personal point of view of moving from the UK to Canada, is that people are just a lot nicer. So Canadians really do live up to the stereotypical super nice characters versus the miserable UK people. But it's due to the weather though.
Alistair is one of the many great examples of top international talent that MWC Canada attracts. From our great brands to our team-oriented culture, MWC Canada is an amazing place to work. One of the things that I personally love is how MWC stands by their 5 principles through environmental and social practices. Speaking of which, let's go talk to Stephanie to see what she loves most about MWC Canada.
So my name is Stephanie Parody and I'm in customer marketing in Mars Wrigley Confectionery. So one of the big things that I love about working here is that we get to partner in a very meaningful way with Ronald McDonald House Canada by volunteering and participating in their events, interacting with the families. It's really special for us. What I'm most excited about for 2019 and beyond is how we're going to grow and evolve in the changing digital space. I think we have some really exciting things coming and the world is going in a really interesting direction.
You know, Irene, what I really love to see is how engaged all the associates really are. And what helps with that is having really strong brands.
Yeah, in gum we have XL, which has over a 60% market share. And it's the #1 brand in the confectionery category. We also have a lot of really fun brands like Juicy Fruit and 5 Gum, Orbit, XL. In the chocolate category, we have really great brands like M&M's, Snickers, Twix. But what you guys don't have is Mars. You guys might recognize Mars though as Galaxy in the US. And lastly, in the candy category, we have Skittles as #1, being strongly supported by Starburst, which we're striving to grow in 2019 and beyond.
So there you have it. You've had a look inside our office, you've met some of our great associates and some of our great brands. Now let's head back to Bolton and see what our friends are up to.
Hello and welcome back to the Mars Canada Internship Overview. Today we have our special guest, Greg, coming in and talk to us about food. Give her a warm welcome to Greg. Hi Greg.
Hey Sarah.
How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I was wondering if you could give us a bit of an overview about Uncle Ben's and food.
Well, okay, so in food general, so we control about 27% of the Canadian market in terms of like ready to make, easy to cook rice. So we have 2 main brands, and that is Uncle Ben's and Seeds of Change. So Uncle Ben's are the traditional line with different types of variations, such as Fast and Fancy, Express, and converted brand rice. And we also, and Seeds of Change is kind of like our organic selection. So ours is catered towards more people who want to eat healthier, who are more conscientious about environmentalism. And we in fact donate about 1% of our total profits to to supporting organic farming techniques here in Canada.
Wow, that's a great initiative. Greg, we were also wondering if you could talk to us a bit more about if Mars Food is doing any more great initiatives.
Well, Uncle Ben specifically has several promotions lined up. One of our big ones will be focusing on the Chinese New Year, and we're going to be encouraging people to create their own stir fry, and we're going to be having a giveaway walk competition where, not competition, but customers hand in pouches with a certain promotional code on them, and then they will get a free walk and mailed to them.
Wow, that walks.
Beyond that, we also have a new line of products, which are beans, where we're planning on launching them in the upcoming years. We're still in the planning phase of that, but that's one of our next kind of like step forwards in not having just simply side dishes at Mars Canada, but also creating a full balanced meal for our customers.
Wow, that's awesome. Now we're gonna cut to a quick commercial.
Are you craving another fun fact? There are 5.4 million dogs in Canada and 8.8 million cats.
And welcome back. We have just one more question that we'd like to ask Greg right here before we wrap things up. We were just wondering if you could let us know a bit more about the food plant, which is just right down the street.
Oh, well, so the food plant, actually, we just got a recent extension about 2 years ago. And so now we have 2 lines running. So we have one line with about 4 lines within those lines to produce and package the product. And then we have another line with just one kind of line, but it has the effectiveness of 3 of the original machines.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's quite powerful.
Yeah.
And we're looking to see if we can also maybe put in another one of those newer lines into the line too, to kind of one of those newer like lanes, better word, into the line too, in order to kind of increase the effectiveness of the actual plant.
Wow.
And out of all the product that comes out of the plants, the majority goes to the States, about 80%, and the other 20% goes to the Canadian market.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Greg, for coming out here. Really
No worries.
appreciate
Thank you
the
for
work.
having me.
No problem. Hope you have a great day.
I will.
Isn't he wonderful?
Core Services is actually pretty specific to the Canadian market and a handful of other markets across the globe. And now Patty, who is a resident here at Mars, is going to go over exactly what Core or Shared Services is.
My name is Patty Ledson, and I'm the site coordinator here in Canada. I have been with Mars a long time, so 29 years. Seen lots of change over the years, but most significantly, and what I want to chat with you about today, is around the formation of Core Services or Shared Services. So we became sort of an unofficial segment when we went through global segmentation. So you might all remember that is when we acquired Wrigley. We went through some global segmentation, and what was unique for us in Canada is that we as a site were always a multi-segment unit. So something a little unusual for Mars, there's a handful of units across the globe that are multi-segment. We happen to be one of them, which means that food, pet, and chocolate at the time exists under one roof, whereas many sites across the globe are really just one segment focused. So for us, when we went through global segmentation, it was a lot of change. And specifically what that meant was we went from one management team to 3 and went from one general manager to 3. But what that also meant was that we discovered there is a group of about 50 to 60 associates that after global segmentation didn't naturally fit into one segment, quite honestly because we would be touching all 3. And those specific functions that were affected were supply chain, commercial logistics, customer service, consumer affairs, accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll as an obvious one, and some HR roles, which is what led me into the shared services unofficial segment.
Being in Bolton, Canada, that means we sell to the best people in the world, Canadians. Now, the size of the Canadian population is actually only the size of California, which means there's not a lot of us. So we actually take most of our campaigns straight from the US. But when we're lucky, we get to create Canadian-generated content right here in the Bolton office. And no, that doesn't mean making maple syrup flavored dog food or having Justin Trudeau eat some Snickers on a commercial. One example of campaigns is when we do Canadian-specific celebrations. For example, for Canada Day, which is July 1st, we did a M&M specific Canada-themed package that only had white and red M&Ms, the color of Canada. Another example is Excel Gum. For our Olympics, we actually got pictures of world-famous Olympians that have won gold and put them right on our packaging. Another example is when we do Canadian-specific campaigns. For example, the work we did with Caesar and Little Maggie. We wanted to create a commercial that gave weekend occasions specifically for your pets. Because in Canada, we love celebrating our weekends, and we realized that people need to celebrate their dogs on weekends too. Another example is when we have Canadian-specific products. For example, with Mars, we have maple-flavored Mars bars. That's because in Canada, maple syrup is our #1 food. Now, you guys, if you want to try some, can drive all the way up here and get a taste. Now that you know a little more about Bolton, Canada, I am so excited to answer all of your questions.